Welcome back to the Ancestral Findings podcast. Veterans Day calls us to remember, but for genealogists, it also opens a door to discovery. Behind every name in a family tree, there may be a record of service, one that shaped not only a life but an entire line of descendants. When we trace the veterans in our families, we do more than learn about wars and uniforms. We uncover courage, hardship, and the choices that built the generations that followed. Researching military ancestors is one of the most rewarding forms of family history. It connects individual lives to major events in history and often reveals personal details found nowhere else. With patience and the right approach, you can build a clear record of your family's service across the centuries. To begin tracing your veterans, start with what you already know. Look through old photographs, letters, and papers that might mention military service. A photo showing a uniform, a medal, or a shoulder patch can be a clue. Family Bibles sometimes record service dates beside names. Even a short note such as "served in France" can guide your search. Cemeteries also hold valuable information. Military headstones or inscriptions often include unit names and wars served. The Department of Veterans Affairs maintains a public gravesite locator that helps identify burial sites for many veterans. Census records can help too. The 1910, 1930, and 1940 U.S. censuses include questions about military service. County histories, school yearbooks, and church memorials may list local men and women who served in particular conflicts. Each era of American military service produced its own kinds of records. Knowing which conflict your ancestor may have served in will guide you to the best sources. The Revolutionary War, 1775-1783, left behind pension and bounty land records that often include family details, marriage dates, and descriptions of wartime experiences. The National Archives holds these collections, and many are digitized on Fold 3 and through the Daughters of the American Revolutions database. For the War of 1812, pension files are among the most revealing. They contain witness statements, property descriptions, and affidavits verifying service. Many are available online through partnerships between genealogical societies and archives. The Civil War touched nearly every American family. Begin by identifying whether your ancestor served with the Union or the Confederacy. Union service and pension files are held at the National Archives. Confederate materials are divided between federal and state repositories. Regimental histories and adjutant general reports will place soldiers in context, showing where they served and what battles they faced. The Spanish-American War and early 20th century conflicts left behind muster rolls and discharge papers that often describe overseas duty and veterans' benefits. For World War I, draft registration cards are an excellent starting point for men born between 1873 and 1900. Every man registered, even if he never served. These cards give birth dates, occupations, and physical descriptions. Many service records were lost in the 1973 fire at the National Personnel Records Center, but state archives, newspapers, and unit histories can fill the gaps. World War II research often starts with draft cards and enlistment records, many of which list next of kin and occupation. Some records were destroyed in the same 1973 fire, but substitutes, final pay vouchers, hospital admission cards, and mourning reports can provide missing details. Local newspapers often featured returning soldiers, offering personal context. For Korea, Vietnam, and later conflicts, privacy laws limit public access, but veterans and their next of kin can request records directly from the National Personnel Records Center. The DD 214 discharge form lists service dates, ranks, and awards. Local news archives and veterans organizations can also reveal service details and community connections. Military records do more than confirm service. They describe people at a defining time in their lives. Enlistment papers record height, weight, and eye color. Muster rolls show when soldiers were promoted, transferred, or hospitalized. Pension files include letters written years later about illness, family needs, and financial struggles. When reading these materials, take note of every small detail. A witness name might turn out to be a neighbor or brother-in-law. A place name might match a migration route you already know. Use maps to trace where units traveled and study the historical events surrounding those movements. This context turns names and numbers into lived experience. Not all veterans carried weapons, but many still served. Women and civilians made enormous contributions through nursing, administration, and industry. During the Civil War, the U.S. Sanitary Commission supported hospitals and relief efforts. In both World Wars, the American Red Cross, Women's Army Corps, and factory workers played essential roles that created their own records. Local historical societies often hold rosters of these contributors. City directories from wartime years may list occupations related to defense production. Including these records broadens our understanding of service and recognizes how families supported the nation from home. Once you locate your family's military materials, preserve them carefully. Original documents, photographs, and medals should be stored in acid-free folders or boxes, kept away from moisture and sunlight. Avoid storing them in attics or basements where temperature and humidity fluctuate. Digitize everything possible. High-quality scans or photos create permanent backups and make it easy to share findings with relatives. Always record full citations, archive names, document numbers, and URLs so others can trace your steps. Consider donating copies to the Veterans History Project or local museums, which collect materials for public use. Preservation ensures your ancestors' service becomes part of the lasting historical record. After you've gathered the records, turn the facts into a narrative. Write a short biography for each veteran, describing where they lived before enlistment, what unit they served with, and how their service affected their later life. Include images and maps to illustrate their journey. This process transforms genealogy into storytelling. It allows future generations to know these relatives as individuals, not just as names on a family chart. Every document becomes part of a larger picture, a story of courage, endurance, and family legacy. Military research rarely ends with one discovery. Each record leads to another question. You may find generations of service or relatives who followed each other into the same branch. Track every detail carefully and maintain organized notes for each ancestor. Keeping a dedicated military research log helps you see patterns and makes it easier to expand your study later. To trace the veterans in your family is to bring history home. It gives meaning to names and faces that might otherwise fade with time. Each file, medal, and inscription speaks of duty, perseverance, and the hope of returning home. Veterans Day reminds us to remember, but genealogy allows us to do something more, to understand. Through careful research and preservation, we can ensure that the sacrifices made by those who came before us remain part of the living memory of our families. In honoring them, we also honor the heritage they left for us to keep. If you've got a hard-to-find ancestor you're stuck on, I'd love to hear about it. Just head over to ancestralfindings.com and click on Contact to send me a message. While you're there, take advantage of our free weekly genealogy lookups. Explore thousands of articles and enjoy hundreds of podcast episodes. We've been helping family history researchers since 1995. And if you're looking for even more, check out our Genealogy Gold Q&A series over on Patreon. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy searching.